Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are excited to have Kirk Jewell, the Chief of People and HR at Altru Partners. Kirk brings a wealth of experience in human resources, having reduced turnover by 20% and saved millions in cost across his career. Now he's helping small and mid-sized businesses scale profitably through Altru Partners, a Phoenix-based consulting firm he co-founded in 2024. He's here to share how Altru is transforming the scaling process for industries like construction and plumbing, with programs like Scale 180 driving results such as 50% revenue growth for clients. We'll be exploring his founding story, how Altru empowers business owners and their teams, and his vision for this mission-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Kirk, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate having you on the show with us and really talking through. You've done some incredible things here and just being started in 2024. I can't wait to hear what you're going to take this to. So let's start at the very beginning for our listeners here, Kirk. What specific problem in the business scaling or HR landscape really inspired you to found Altru Partners?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge that we've seen in our team is really a coalition of consulting, more of that Fortune 100, Fortune 500 experience. But I think the biggest thing that we found when looking at the landscape of consulting is a lot of times what we're finding is people that only have consulting experience. They've never actually built the thing that they're saying they can do. About 2 years ago, we started to really look at what that landscape looked like. And we were able to pressure test a lot of our systems, our processes over the last really about 7 years. And
Hmm,
then I will tell you that the biggest thing that we're trying to address is helping good people work with good people, driving good results.
hmm.
So I would say to distill all of that down, the challenge that we're trying to solve is bringing that Fortune 100 class of knowledge of growth and scaling down to those small and medium-sized businesses, majority of them being in that blue collar to gray collar industry.
Incredible. Incredible. I love that. With that in mind, where the focus is, how has Altru Partners offer evolved since starting? So who you're serving and what you're providing, how's that changed since you first launched?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when we first launched, we were looking at really just offering consulting business where we would go in with the four phases of the business structure, meaning the sales and marketing,
Yeah.
operations, finance, and HR. And that has evolved to where we're going down market. So rather than just looking to work with businesses of 5 million or more, we've really gone down market to where we can create cash flow in the business to get them up to that full consulting while also changing the trajectory of their business. A lot of times we have found businesses that have been, I'll say stuck, but stuck's not the right word. They
Yeah.
plateaued around that 500,000 to $2 million mark. They've got 1 to 6 team members, and it's a good lifestyle business, but they've never figured out how to grow and scale.
Gotcha. Very interesting and definitely something that's needed because again, there are so many companies out there that hit that wall and don't know where to turn. It's incredible to have someone like you out there providing these types of services, guiding them to continue to grow and scale. So as far as that goes, I would love to hear your opinion on what's a misconception that you often hear about the business consulting industry, especially around its value to small business owners or its scalability as a business. What's something there that you can address for us?
Well, I don't even know if it's a misconception to be quite honest, because over the past 15 years, I've had a lot of contacts in my network that are either advisors, consultants, and I would say the stereotypical advice, and it's a hands-off approach. I think the biggest difference that makes All True Partners a change agent in the consulting space is that we're doing it for you, and then we're going to do it with you, and then we're going to coach you on how we did everything. So, in some respects, we're in essence solving the problems and then giving you the answers so we never have to solve them again.
Mm.
But in that, we're creating bigger problems. And what I mean by that is the problems that we're addressing at the $3 million plumbing house in northern Phoenix, the 24-month targets and the challenges that we're facing in 2 years are $10 million problems, and we're no longer talking about the $3 million challenges.
Incredible how just that continues to roll. I know that many of our listeners are going to be super intrigued here because they can end up being clients of yours. Of course, our listeners are other founders and entrepreneurs and business owners, and a lot that are just starting off or in that range that you work with. So, walk us through how Altru is really generating revenue today as far as the core offer. I know you have the Scale 180 program, the financial
Mhm.
diagnostics, obviously the consulting services. So, how is it structured for your clients when they do come to you?
Yeah, we start a lot of our clients in the phase 4 coaching space. So it is a 6-month program, and in essence, we're teaching them the frameworks that we use to scale businesses. We've scaled businesses for the better part of 12 to 15 years, depending on our discipline. The reality is that we've worked with over 3,000 companies and had a just under $1 billion in portfolio value. And that is an outpour of the efforts that we've built as far as systems and growth strategies. But I would say the largest piece of what we're doing and where people are getting the most amount of traction out of our services is the full consulting. I will say that is for the 3 million to around $50 million business. So it's not for everybody. And we
Yeah,
want to build the foundational piece of the American economy. And we know that falls well short of that 3 million mark. We
right.
know that if we can take care of those businesses that have anywhere from one co-employee, if you will, to 10 team members, that we're touching anywhere from 40 to 50 individuals' lives. Because the way that
Mm.
we're looking at that is each one of those team members has 3.5 family members attached to it. So our goal and our vision is to touch 100,000 lives with what we're doing. And we know that impacting that mom and pop shop that has been really good, and maybe they run 2 trucks and 2 techs, if we can take them and scale them to the $1 to $5 million mark and position them for a roll up, or in essence, building them to scale to where we can go and buy an underperforming shop across town, doubling their size and effectively 3 or 4xing their ability to drive results with a
Mm.
unique business proposition. That's what we want to do. We want to affect lives. We talk about it a lot, but it's not for scaling for scaling's sake. It's we want to scale on purpose. And what that means to us is not just scale with intention, but do that purpose driven, where people that we're touching the lives of, they feel more inclined and more equipped to impact the next generation of either employee or people in their community.
Amazing. Just incredible. Just the passion that you have. I can feel it through the conversation, and it's clear as day as to why you've had this many clients and see the success that you're seeing. Just amazing, and truly appreciate having you on the show talking through your methodology and your ideology for how you're achieving this success. I'm definitely curious to know, and I know our listeners are, what's working best right now for you, Kirk, for acquiring new clients consistently? Is that now that you've had so many clients, is it more of the referral and word of mouth side, or you guys have like ads master, social media, organic? What does that look like for constant new clients coming in?
Yeah, so the answer to that question is yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different mechanisms. I will say that the most impactful point of entry is just giving it away. It sounds counterintuitive to building a business, but we have a free community that we host on School, that platform, but really it's called Build to Scale. And so the idea is really how do we put people together in the same space to where we can collaborate? So we go from this competitive juice of how do I beat ABC Plumbing with my XYZ electrical company? what are we all doing? How do we collaborate? But we talk about the currency of business, it's relationship. And
Mm,
so if we can create a space where Jay and Kirk are no longer siloed in their individual businesses, but we can bring them together, and maybe we're not competing directly against each other, and maybe we are.
yeah.
But the reality is that if I can drive business and I can give you the strategies of what we're doing on the marketing side or how we're converting more sales from the same number of service calls, then we're all going to raise up. And I'm not going to mention any big boy names, but if we can go toe to toe from a service delivery based on process development with
Mm,
the big boys in the industry, then we're giving the small mom and pop shops, and I use that term loosely, but really those that $500,000 business to the $5 million business, if we can put them in a competitive space with those bigger shops, and we can show a difference in the way that we show up. We can show up differently in the way that we're presenting the service recommendations, and then show up differently in the way that we follow up on those services, creating that relationship. We know that we can win those deals 8 out of 10 times. And we've got a plumbing company here in Phoenix that we took from just shy of failure,
yeah.
meaning they were about 2 weeks in cash away from going out of business back in
Wow.
August of 2024. They
Yeah.
now have over $500,000 in cash in the bank. They've got 6 months in reserve, and we are looking at growth strategies on how do we identify that underperforming plumbing house or electrical house that they don't know how to get out of their own way. We've already built the process and the scalability of their business. Now it's a matter of copy paste and taking over a different market.
Incredible. Just incredible what you're able to do. That's mind blowing. 2 weeks away from bankruptcy essentially to
Yep,
now being where
exactly.
they are. And that's in what, a 7, 8 month time frame.
Yeah, just shy of 8 months.
That's unbelievable results for what you're doing. And again, clear as day of why you're seeing the success that you're having. Give us a picture here, Kirk, of what it looks like as far as sales process goes for you. It sounds like you guys have a full-blown machine here. So do you have, I know it's yourself, do you have a team with sales and marketing and everyone around piece-wise? What does that look like
For
on the
sure.
sales
So
side?
we have a sales and marketing team. Our CEO and founder, he is the marketing CMO, and so that is a competitive advantage to have that mind share in your founding crew, if you
Oh,
will.
yeah.
And then we've got a small sales team, and the strategy is fairly straightforward in the sense that we're engaging people from top of funnel and just
Yes.
bringing them into private conversations through direct message, working inside of Facebook, Instagram, and then, excuse me, and then welcoming them into free resources. So we host a call every week, Business Builders Weekly, that we wrapped up earlier this morning. And it's a free call. It's an hour of us giving value first, value all of it always is a mantra that we use. And then we know that if we can change your business or change your directive with free content, what more
Mhm.
could we do once we send an invoice and the multiplier versus addition starts to happen?
That's just an incredible thought process and mindset to have. And again, delivering that quality first. So then the quantity comes after the quality. Just a phenomenal way to look at things. I'm super curious to know, is there even a bottleneck that you can point to, something that's on your mind, or again, the CEO's mind that you guys talk through, whether that be quality lead generation, keeping the pipeline full, converting those leads into clients, delivering with your current capacity? Is there anything on that front that you can point to, or is everything just clicking right now?
I would be lying if I said everything is perfect. That's not business, that's imagination.
Yeah.
And I think we've all seen the either the Instagram reels of perfection being pitched, but
Right.
that's not us. I would say our biggest bottleneck, if I can term it that way, and I'll just borrow your language, but the biggest bottleneck right now is attention. Our biggest attention getter is our clients. The number of clients that have come from clients, it's one thing for us to get in front of you with our sales team and to pitch you on our services and our value and the value proposition that we bring. It's a wholly separate thing when you can look at a husband and wife team in the eyes and they're telling you this team, this company, this group of individuals has fundamentally changed the way that we look at our family structure, our business structure, and approach our future.
Incredible. Absolutely. That is just so powerful. And again, just a testament to the quality that you're providing for your clients on a day-to-day basis. I know that the listeners right now are definitely in awe, and I'm sure you're going to be getting some phone calls or emails after the episode airs. So I would love to know more of your thought process now for the next 6 to 12 months, Kirk. So walk us through here, top priorities, whether that be any specific revenue targets, impact goals, growth strategies, scaling. What are you guys really planning to do to continue scaling Altru to where you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll go through our vision and
Yeah.
I'll distill that down to the next 12 to 24 months. But our vision is to create 1,000 prosperous businesses that are driven by integrity and altruism. Our people vision, again, going into that, we want to impact the lives of 100,000 people through ethical business scaling and impacting our community in the process. And then our revenue goal, I would I'll give you our revenue goal for the next 10 years and I'll distill that down into the next 24 months. But our giving goal is the more important of the two. So our revenue goal in the next 10 years is to generate $100 million. Our target for the next 2 years is to be a $10 million revenue business. But in that, our giving goal, and this is something that we talk about with our clients that are coming into our business, our giving goal is to give away $1 million. So it's not about a revenue goal to buy the next G 450 or whatever it is. If that allows us to expand our impact, absolutely, I'll sign up for that lease payment every day of the week. But I will tell you that just in the first 12 months of us being an organization and being a partnership, we've been able to contribute a significant amount of money and time and resources to building the only two men's safe houses to alleviate sex trafficking in America. So we hear the sex trafficking problem and epidemic in America, and a large part of those efforts go to alleviate females off the street and get the kids into a safe environment. But a lot of times the men's side of that equation gets forgotten. And so we've been a part of building the two safe houses in America for men to be extracted from the sex trade. And it's something that we're very passionate about, not only personally, but as an organization, we're focused on that alleviation of the industry and just obliterating it because it's pure evil, as well as bringing in support and resources to the foster and adoptive care units throughout the country.
That is just everything about that just goes to show the quality of human that we have on the show today. And again, just so grateful for that. And that's just an incredible movement that you guys are taking part of. Again, bringing awareness to, I think, is more important to that front of really being able to just talk about it and make it aware. And what you guys are doing, having two safe houses already, just absolutely incredible. I would love to get a little bit hypothetical here with you.
Yeah.
So bringing in a genie into the room, snapping our fingers, rubbing the lamp. We have unlimited resources now at your fingertips. What are you implementing immediately into Altru?
Unlimited resources, to be very frank, people. I think the thing that has gotten us to this point is attracting unbelievable people.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect people, it's people on purpose. And I say that very intentionally, but one thing that we live and die by is our core values. A lot of the core values that are running around the streets these days, it's more buzzwords, and I would equate them more with values than core values. But our first core value is emboldened. It's not a normal word that you would see in the everyday lexicon of America.
Yeah.
But emboldened, by definition, is having courage on your own behalf, but when needed, having courage on behalf of others. And sometimes as business owners, we have the courage to take a bet on ourselves. It's wholly different when you're welcoming people inside of your environment and you're no longer siloed as a solopreneur. You're now an entrepreneur and shifting quickly into business ownership. But for our people, our advisors, to our sales, to every inch of our organization, first and foremost, we have to be emboldened and taking courage for our own sake, but sometimes having courage in the face of fear for our clients. And so that's one of our key metrics. And then at the end of it, if you go through all of our core values, they build into results driven. So as much as we'd love to get into the softer side of the human element, at the end of the day, we are nothing as a business if we're not driving profitability for our clients. And that profitability for us really allows them to be fully free to have ultimate impact, because with financial freedom comes ultimate freedom in that you can actually put your dollars to work on purpose and you can have a lasting impact way beyond the scale or sale of your business, into where you're sitting on that back patio or back porch, depending on what side of the country you're on, and you're looking out and saying, we had an opportunity and we took it, and we had the impact on this many lives, or we were able to serve this many team members inside of our organization, or create this many opportunities in our small town in rural Arkansas. We worked with a company that did deer feed, not something that you see very often,
Not every
but
day.
but at the end of the day, they basically were the employer
Mm,
destination for about 25% of the community. And so when you look at this thing and you're like, wow, what could we do with deer feed? What do we do?
right.
But ultimately, their biggest industry was the real estate industry. They would bring these deer feed, the feeders onto the property, and they would work with the real estate agents to bring in these deer to, in essence, have these picturesque kind of postcard viewings of what
Interesting.
they were doing and the house that they were positioning. Because out in Arkansas,
Right,
they
that's the
are, I
attraction.
mean, there's a lot of land to sell, and
Yes.
you can only do so much with showing pictures of the house when it's sitting on 50 acres. But I say all that to say that if I had an unlimited resource of money,
Yeah.
I would do what we're doing. I would just be able to do it faster. And I know that the key to our success is attracting, developing, retaining top talent that goes to work on purpose.
Just absolutely incredible. I'm in awe of this conversation and just so grateful. I do want to go into a bit of a lightning round here, Kirk, to close us out. But again, just absolutely incredible episode so far. So just thank you again. So I do want to know, as far as this lightning round goes, what's a tool or a resource, Kirk, whether it's an HR strategy from your past, a consulting technique, AI, what's something that's just been a game changer to this point for Altru?
I am a bit of a nerd at heart. As much as I want to say that I'm an HR guy, I am a nerd at heart. And I will say that back in about 2008, the Harvard Business Review did a service profit chain, and I have leveraged that to no end. And
Mm,
in essence, at the very core of that service profit chain is taking care of people that take care of your customers, that the customers take care of the business.
mm,
But most of us as business owners get it wrong. We start with taking care of the customer at the detriment of our people. But we know statistically, and I will say this with all sincerity, is data doesn't lie. People do, but data does not lie. And the data shows that if we as small business owners will take care of our people and get the hiring dialed in to where we're attracting people that are aligned with our core values, that can see their success inside of our vision and get on board with the mission and the purpose that we started this thing with, we will not only have aligned people to what we want, but we'll have an environment that we love coming to. How many times have you talked to business owners that hate going to their business because they have a culture by default that they don't even know how they got there? Our goal is to use that service profit chain to design a culture on purpose And then that will translate into not only a higher conversion rate with satisfied customers, but to our own testament, you will have customers that will do the selling for you because they're selling out of a passion of results and the change that you've brought to their own life and business.
Amazing. Amazing. And then just last question to wrap us up here. And this one's for our listeners, Kirk. So, what is a piece of advice that you can give to our listeners? So, other founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, either just starting out or in the middle of it, but the amount of passion and drive that you have, I know that everyone else wants to have that as well. What can you offer before we wrap up today?
I, man, I am a big John Maxwell guy. I don't know if you're familiar
Hmm.
with the author, but he's got some 90 something books. So that's a deep rabbit hole that you can go back to. But one of his best books is Becoming a Person of Influence. He wrote this back in 96, 98, something like that.
Yeah.
But something that I pulled out of that book, if you desire to become an influencer of other lives, start by nurturing them. Many people mistakenly believe that the way to become an influencer is to become an authority figure or a boss, if you will. You can't antagonize and influence at the same time. So if I can leave anything with the listeners, that is it. You can't both be an antagonist or a boss babe or boss boy and be an influencer. There's a difference between being a person of influence that inspires the change that you want to see in your business and in the world. You can try to achieve that by brute force, but you're always going to find yourself at the end of that day suffering in a silo. But I will also give you the last thing that I'll say is to any entrepreneur or business owner that's in their first phase of growth, meaning they're in that first $5 million of growth, the highs and lows are just a distraction from the horizon you're rowing towards.
I love it. I love it. With that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Kirk, thank you again. A remarkable journey so far. Truly appreciate having you on the show, sharing your insights with us. Again, it's clear as day the passion and drive you have as to why you're seeing this much success. I can't wait to keep following along to see how far you take it and absolutely crush those goals that you guys have set out for yourselves. To our listeners, if you did enjoy this episode, which I know so many of you have, as did I, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.